Welcome to Jackal DIY. Today we'll go over the central heating system, specifically how you can automate your wooden furnace. So the issue I had was when I started the furnace, the temperature would go to, 30 degrees and the water would start pumping, which is too soon. Ideally this system would tell the pump to open the valve when the furnace was at about 50 degrees. And I did that myself. How? Well, let's take a look. You'll need to make some calculations based on this value. At least this is the thermometer that I've used. This is TF-PT and it usually has, let's see, resistance of about 1000 ohms when it is 0 degrees. So this thermometer works by default, but it didn't in my case the way I intended to. So just the thermometer itself, at 1000 ohms, the furnace would start at 30 degrees. And this is not 0 as you can see. So what I had to do was decrease the resistance. And how did I do that? Well, I used the parallel calculator. So I have two resistors. The first one is the thermometer and the second one is the value that I'll be using. First I've used 10,000 ohms and it gives resistance of about 910. If you take a look at the table, this puts it at about minus 25. And this was too much because the pump started at about 65 degrees Celsius. So I had to find a number that's lower than this. I then used 20,000 ohms, which gives the value of about 950, which is less than minus 10, so about minus 8 maybe. But this was too little, because the furnace started also at about 30 degrees. So I ended with the value of 16,000 and 1800, because those were the ohm resistors that I had. With 940 degrees, this gives it at about minus 15, and this is perfect because now when the furnace reaches the maximum temperature, which is 70 degrees Celsius, the valve also opens to the maximum. And this is the schematic that I made. You have some instructions at the top. This is a box that switches between the furnace, which is this one on the wood, and the oil one, and I forgot to put in here a tiny bit. Can I edit it? So you need to put here the resistor that you calculate with. So this is 16.8 kilo ohms. So you need to connect the temperature sensor parallel to this resistor and into this box, in case you made the same one. And now I'll play the video how this actually looks and how I tested it. So this is the oil furnace, this is the valve that opens the water, and this is the wooden furnace on the left. Now this sensor goes inside the furnace, but in this case I wanted to test it if it works. So I taped it like this, and I've used the fan to heat this up. And that's how I tested it. The fan went to 55 degrees, which was enough to test this if it started or not. And if this started, the pump also started running. And now let's go to the back. This is poorly visible, I know. So the bottom wires are from the sensor, and this is the resistor. I've used two values. The resistors here are in series, which gives like one whole resistor value of 17,800 ohms, and it's wired like this. So we have that. This is my DIY box. One is for oil, the bottom one is oil, and the top one is for wood. And I also used some lights to display that. It's poorly visible, but this is the power supply. It's 5 volts, if I'm not mistaken. Either way, you will have to calculate this based on the power supply that you have. And it's connected, somewhere down here till it gets to the box. Then the box has a light when it's turned on. This is all the time because we never unplug it. So now it's turned to the furnace, and if it's the bottom one, it's the oil one. I don't know if this will be heard, but at this point basically the valve opened and the water started running, as you can see by the value here. The pressure was in the pipes, and this valve started opening to the left. So I hope this helps you to automate your wooden furnace. What we had to do previously was to start the furnace, let it reach 55 degrees, and run upstairs and start the central heating system, which is not what the central heating system is for. It's supposed to be turned on and automated. And with this fix, the central heating now works as it should.